Imagine being selected to spend the night with the most influential man in the empire. Yet, instead of a romantic evening, your night begins with silence, close supervision, and a strict set of rules enforced by guards and officials. There is no privacy, no freedom of choice, and absolutely no margin for mistakes. Welcome to the secretive realm of the Imperial Harem. Situated within the Forbidden City, deep inside ancient China's royal palaces, the emperor's private quarters stood as one of the most rigorously monitored places in the empire. Rather than a lavish retreat, this space was regulated by an intricate system of customs, political strategizing, and constant fear of treachery. At the very heart of this environment were the women of the harem, concubines, consorts, and empresses. Each was tied to centuries-old traditions and perpetually observed under the watchful eye of palace laws. Contrary to common beliefs, the imperial harem was not an unrestrained world of pleasure. Every personal encounter the emperor shared with his consorts was meticulously controlled by court officials, senior eunuchs, and a vast bureaucratic structure. Although the emperor wielded absolute authority publicly, even his private moments followed strict, long-standing regulations. Every night adhered to a sacred routine. After finishing his evening meal and concluding official duties, the emperor would retire to his private rooms where a ceremonial tray awaited him, a simple yet profoundly symbolic item. This tray was presented by the chief eunuch. The jade plaques were held with care, each one engraved with the name of a concubine or consort from the imperial harem. This was not a random gesture. The arrangement of the plaques was meticulously planned. Although the emperor appeared to select freely, the reality was often shaped by political motives rather than personal preference. Influential palace figures, such as trusted eunuchs or court advisors, sometimes organized the names to highlight certain women. Through this subtle influence, they could steer the emperor's choices, support preferred families, or preserve important alliances. When the emperor picked a plaque, casually turning it over with seeming indifference, it set in motion a finely tuned sequence of events for the chosen concubine. Upon selection, she was notified immediately and had to start her preparations at once. This was far from an easy process. She was required to bathe in water scented with rare herbs and oils believed to purify the body and boost fertility. These baths were more than cleanliness. They were spiritual acts aimed at cleansing bad luck and readying her to serve the emperor. After the bath, attendants would dress her in a silk garment, often a single embroidered robe or covering adorned with symbols representing luck, harmony, or fertility. Next followed a careful personal grooming ritual. Her hair was smoothed, her skin lightly dusted with powder, and every detail of her appearance perfected. Just before she left her chambers, a senior eunuch conducted a brief final inspection, ensuring she was completely prepared for the role she was about to assume. Inspection involved no jewelry, no adornments, and no accessories that could conceal a weapon or poison. The emperor's safety was the utmost concern, and even the slightest hint of risk was taken with the greatest seriousness. Then the concubine was carefully placed on a stretcher covered in silk, carried not by ordinary attendants but by trusted eunuchs. These men were loyal solely to the throne and quietly escorted her through the dim hallways of the Forbidden City toward the emperor's private chambers. Being carried might seem graceful, yet it was a deliberate choice. Strict palace protocols prevented any concubine from smuggling dangerous items beneath her garments. Lifting her off the floor eliminated the possibility of hiding anything inside her footwear and restricted her ability to move unpredictably or freely. Upon reaching the emperor's room, another thorough inspection usually occurred before she was gently laid on the imperial bed. No words were exchanged unless the emperor started the conversation. This rule went beyond mere control. It underscored the hierarchy by requiring the concubine to remain silent unless addressed, reinforcing her role as a servant of the emperor's desires. Time with the emperor was closely regulated, each encounter lasting approximately 1 hour. Outside the chamber, an eunuch stood ready to announce softly when time was nearly expired. If no response followed, they were instructed to enter quietly to check on the emperor's condition. Every moment was carefully orchestrated to ensure protection. The ruler's life revolved around maintaining order within the palace. When a visit concluded, the concubine was carefully wrapped in silk again and carried back to her own quarters. She was neither permitted to delay nor to speak. This routine was designed to prevent any single woman from spending disproportionate time with the emperor, thereby restricting favorites from gaining excessive influence. The imperial harem was one of the most strictly supervised areas of court life. Each action taken by a woman was meticulously recorded. Detailed logs documented not only who had time with the emperor, but also the duration and specific timing. If a child was conceived, this information was carefully monitored to ensure the purity of the imperial lineage was unquestionable. Even the most private aspects of life were under scrutiny. During menstruation, a concubine could not be chosen according to Chinese tradition, as it was thought to bring misfortune or disrupt the emperor's vital energy. To avoid awkward situations, women developed subtle signals to indicate their unavailability. These included gold rings, folded notes, red ribbons tied around wrists, or red lanterns displayed outside doors. However, this delicate signaling system could be exploited. Some ambitious concubines, eager to gain favor, would hide their status despite facing potential punishments. To enforce these rules, eunuchs were tasked with monitoring menstrual cycles and overseeing the health of each woman, adding yet another layer of control over their lives. Life in the palace could be enchanting yet perilous, as the emperor's affection held immense and sometimes overwhelming power. One woman received an excessive share of favor, rivalries transformed into political groups, and alliances often centered around chosen concubines. This situation sparked tension, envy, and occasionally open rebellion. One of the most striking episodes in Chinese history happened during the reign of an emperor determined to achieve immortality. He compelled his concubines to take part in perilous alchemical trials, exposing them to poisonous substances. Many fell ill, and some lost their lives. Eventually, a group of women, desperate to break free from his cruelty, tried to kill him. Their attempt did not succeed, and they faced the harshest penalties imaginable under imperial law. Those involved were executed with extreme severity. This somber episode served as a warning to the entire court that no matter how opulent the environment, the consequences could be grave. Not all narratives from the harem involved defiance. Some told of affection, sorrow, and the cost of attractiveness. Yang Gui, one of the most renowned concubines in Chinese history, captivated the heart of Emperor Xuanzong during the Tang dynasty. Her beauty was famed, and so was the extent of her influence. But her rise ignited envy, political turmoil, and hostility from influential officials. When the empire confronted rebellion, the military accused her and insisted on her death to protect the throne. The emperor consented, and Yang Gui was taken to a temple where she passed away. Whether she ended her own life or was put to death by royal command remains unknown. Her tale turned into legend. Poems, paintings, and operas commemorate her not just as a political figure, but as a symbol of tragic love. As a woman swept up in the currents of history, cherished by an emperor yet despised by the court, and forever etched in memory, the intimate rituals of the imperial harem went far beyond mere formality. They represented control, heritage, and the fight for survival. In a realm where authority was endlessly precarious, even private moments were executed with precision and vigilance. From the hushed hallways to the meticulously arranged jade plaques, every element revealed a system where duty outweighed emotion. Today, the imperial harem stands as one of the most intriguing chapters in Chinese history.